All right. Good morning, LinkedIn. I'm here live with Dusten Hendrickson, and we're going to talk a little bit about opportunities that are available now and some tips and ways to stay positive during these trying times of ours. Anyhow, quick story of how I know Dusten. Dusten is on LinkedIn a lot. He makes videos, and this is how I would describe his videos. They are a combination of insightfulness and a little bit of crazy, bizarre entertainment mixed together in one. So his videos are fun to watch. But anyhow, I wanted to give Dusten a little bit of time now to introduce himself, tell everybody what you do, and just a little bit about yourself.
I'm primarily a real estate investor, but I got started in construction, and I own a construction company. I love to invest passively in multifamily stuff, but my favorite thing to actually do, my favorite task is to design. So I like to design spaces for people to be in where they feel better in the space than they did before entering the space.
Well, that's kind of cool. How in the world did you end up getting into this space, to getting into that?
I just started, on the ground level. I owned a roofing company when I was like 23, I think. And after being on all the different job sites, I realized I liked going inside the houses and like touring the houses and picking them apart more than I actually liked the roofing business. So then I just transitioned into building homes. Then I started owning some of the homes that I built, like duplexes. I would build a duplex and just keep it instead of sell it. And I realized that was way more profitable. So I started just trying to build and own everything. And I just fell in love with mixed use stuff because I used to travel a ton. I still travel quite a bit, but I used to travel differently. I used to travel more for the fun or just the different hotels and stuff. Now I travel more for work and stuff. But yeah, it's kids are expensive though. So I have some kids now. I didn't really have too many kids before, and it gets expensive. So the travel cut down, but from the travel, I brought back all these little things I learned from all these different cultures and all these different cool cities. So we just started building the same stuff in our little tiny town.
Nice. When you travel, do you stay within the United States, or are you an international traveler?
Mostly in the United States because my wife doesn't really want to leave the United States, but we have went to Italy, Mexico, Canada. Right. So I have been to Europe once, but I want to be more of an international traveler.
Right. So are you one of those people that every time you go to a new place, you pay attention to the design aspects of the building that you're in?
I actually go so far as I go in and I try to figure out why I feel good. Because when I feel good immediately, I try to pinpoint why I feel good so I can incorporate into that into my designs. So I'm like an emotional based designer. It's all about how good you feel in the space and then the functionality of it. A lot of people, when they design stuff, they want to put in what they know, what they're comfortable with, and not because it's actually a good design, but just because they know it, they're comfortable with it, and they want to do it because they've always done it that way. So I try to not do it that way. I try to do it more emotion based. What's the absolute best way I'm going to feel in this space, and then create that space.
That's interesting. I've never heard of thinking of designing a house based on how you feel there, but it makes total sense because you want to be in a place that makes you feel good and positive and ambitious, or whatever the feeling you're looking for is.
I mean, that's the whole reason why malls kind of are dying. There's really not too much natural light in malls. No one really wants to be inside a mall. You can go into a small little strip store. You can have all the windows facing the storefront, get all the natural light, go into your shop, move out. So people think it's just for the convenience of the strip mall, but it's actually because they feel better in spaces that are lit naturally and flow better.
Oh, that's interesting. So the mall should
just the reason why you hate a hospital. Why do you hate a hospital when you go in? Usually the corridors are narrow, ceilings are low, no natural light, all incandescent bulbs. It's the same with LaGuardia Airport. It's the worst feeling airport in the world, and it's like you're in the shoebox hallway corridor, and it's so sterile and so like that dim little depressing light above your head. That people don't really pick up on why they feel that way, but all those reasons make you feel that way.
That's a good one. The Minneapolis airport, I don't know if you've been there, but there's one of the big wings, and it's got windows all along the side, and they have the tram that drives up and down there. But It has a little bit
That
of a
one
different
feels good.
flavor.
That feels good. Yes, that feels very good.
Yeah. All right. Now I got 5 quick questions for you.
All right.
I kind of ask these to everybody. Give me your quick answers here. How many cups of coffee do you drink every week?
Every week, I probably drink 10 cups of coffee, but I used to probably drink 30 because now I drink bulletproof coffee. I have way less cravings for coffee. I drink 1 cup in the morning, and then every couple days I have an afternoon cup.
All right. What is your favorite restaurant?
My favorite restaurant is probably Bar La Grassa in Minneapolis. And I've been to some of the best restaurants, except for in New York. I've only tried a few of the best restaurants in New York, but I've been to some of the best restaurants in every city, and Minneapolis is one of my favorite food cities. But that could be because I'm Scandinavian and I can't handle like the richness of the Southern food. I really like California food too, but in Minneapolis they have it's like a California Italian spin on it's like a California spin on Italian food.
What was that place called again?
Bar La Grassa, Minneapolis.
Bar La Grassa. I've never heard of it. I've never been there, but I do go to Minneapolis, so maybe I should try it out.
You need to go there. Absolutely.
All right. Okay. If you read books, do you read paperback, ebook, or do you not read books?
I read books, and I think reading books is the most important thing you can do to improve your income. You want to improve your income? Start reading books. Yes, books. I try to read 20 books a year. I read mainly on ebook. I prefer to read on paperback, but I read more when I read an ebook because I have it all on me all the time. So I read probably 2 paperbacks a year and 10 to 18 ebooks a year, depending on what they are.
Nice. You're one of the few people I've met that said they prefer ebooks.
I don't prefer ebooks, but I prefer to read more. So then
Right.
I read more on the ebooks. I do not prefer ebooks, but yes, so I must prefer ebooks if I read more on ebooks. But I would much rather have a paperback in my hands, but I just don't read as much. And I feel better when I read. Within 15 minutes, I feel better when I read. So if I'm too busy in the morning and I don't read, I actually feel worse and I go backwards. So I always make sure I give myself 20 minutes to read in the morning.
Hey, this is not one of my 5 questions, but what's a book right now you would recommend people to read?
The Slight Edge.
The Slight Edge?
Yep. Actually, no. I just read The Slight Edge and I love it. Everyone should read that. But everybody should read The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And that is only so that you can therefore understand what the book Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I guess it's really hard to just read the Meditations book without having some context to it. So read Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way, because that's a modern new book, and that's what introduced me to Meditations, and I was able to understand Meditations. And Meditations completely changed my whole mindset about everything. There's no longer any emergencies really in your life once you read Meditations.
That's interesting. I have not read any of those 3 books. Hey, here we go. I'm getting all sorts of insight here. Next question. When you were growing up, what career did you want to have?
I don't think I even wanted to have a career, honestly, because when I think back on it, I just wanted to do whatever was fun at the time. And like my dad was an engineer, my brother was going to be an engineer, my whole family was engineers, and I have like this autistic brain, so I figured that I'm going to be an engineer. So I kind of just went for that, but then I realized I wanted to be a business owner. I had no idea. So I think it's important to just, who cares? If you're doing something and you start hating it and you're going to hate it, just quit, go to the next thing. When you're in school trying to find your career, more than likely whatever you graduate with, you ain't even going to do it unless it's a doctor or lawyer. Even lawyers hate their job and they quit most of the time. So if you hate your job, just quit, move on to the next fast. Or if you hate your career, that's what I've got, because I jumped all over the place. I first thought I wanted to be a mechanic, but then I realized that I love real estate. So that's where I am. And it took me until I was like 25, 26, 27 before I really understood that I wanted to go all in on real estate.
Well, that's a good take on it. So, yeah, I don't know. There's so many kids that grow up and they want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher. And
I wanted to own a skateboard shop, and now I own a building that has a bike shop that sells skateboards in it. So how's that?
that's close enough.
There you go.
Yes, I was never a skateboarder, so I didn't want to own one of those. All right, last question of my 5, and then I think I have a bonus question. What is something you are afraid of? And I don't want you to go too deep on this one. It's like I'm afraid of heights.
No, so I am afraid of bats.
Oh, I can agree with that. They're gross.
Dude, they're so gross. Something about them just creeps me out more than anything. If there's a bat and I see it flying around, I'm out of there. Like I'm like a baby. Like some people are like that with snakes. When I see a bat, I freak out.
Oh man. Do you run into this situation a lot? I mean, do you
Yes,
in your business?
There's a bat in that building downtown right now. We found it yesterday because evidently we had the plastic on, covering up the windows for so long when they were installing the plastic that a couple of bats got in there because it was warm during that time. There's a lot of bats in Brookings, by the way. And so there's a few bats. So now we got to, every time we find a bat, we have to call the exterminator. He just goes and grabs it with a glove and he grabs the bat and he loves bats. So he releases them somewhere. So I'm glad that he figures it out because that stuff is absolutely disgusting to me.
Oh yeah, they when you actually get a hold of them, they look like a mouse with big teeth and long, nasty wings.
Yeah, I don't even dead bats I'm scared of. I don't even touch them. I'll go get my worker to pick up the dead bat and get it out of there. I will not even touch the thing.
Yeah. All right. My last bonus question. What is a better mascot, a coyote or a jackrabbit?
Oh, jackrabbit. No way. Not even close. We've continuously been honored by Scott Van Pelt of ESPN as having the best mascot in the business. So I think we've got it 2 times. Jackrabbit's got the best mascot in the tournament, NCAA tournament.
Right. Well, for people watching and you don't know, Dustin and I both live in South Dakota. I live in Sioux Falls. Dustin lives in Brookings. Brookings is the home of South Dakota State University and the SDSU Jackrabbits. So
you're a Coyote fan?
What's that?
A Coyote fan? Are you a Coyote fan or a Jackrabbit?
No, I'm a Jackrabbit fan. I have my PhD from SDSU, so that qualifies me to be a Jackrabbit fan, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of fun the last 10 years, but it seems like that fun's kind of coming to an end here. We'll see what happens though. But yeah, the rivalry, I love the rivalry between USD. I think that's nothing but good comes from it.
I would agree. I think they should come play the games in Sioux Falls more often, right in between.
I agree. I think you're right.
This is nothing to do with our other topic of conversation here, but I'm really surprised that Sioux Falls, being the most populated city in South Dakota, doesn't have a major college presence. Do
you know why that is?
Well, the prison is here.
Yeah, because they took the prison over the college. Because back in the day, the prison was much, much more profitable.
Yeah. So for other people watching this is Sioux Falls is roughly 200,000 people, a little bit less than that, a little bit more if you include the surrounding areas. But I think it was 100 years ago, something like that. Sioux Falls got the choice of whether they wanted the state university or the prison, and they chose the prison because at the time it made more money. It was more profitable. It hired more people. And so they put it in my opinion, in one of the best places in the city. It sits on a hill overlooking the falls, because our city is named after the Sioux Falls, and it overlooks that. And now in 2020, the prime real estate in our city is a prison on top of a hill, and SDSU Brookings is huge.
With John Morrell's sitting underneath it too, though.
Yeah, that is true. But
so, yeah, they put some prime stuff in that location, or they put some crappy stuff in a prime location, I should say.
Yeah,
and prime now though. It's prime now.
Yeah, it makes sense why the stuff was all put there, but 60, 100 years later, it doesn't make as much sense anymore.
Yeah, no, that you're right. I never thought of that, but that would be some of the most prime real estate in the town if John Morrell's was gone and the prison was gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a thing though. Neil Bawa says that crime is directly correlative to how good the market is for multifamily. So it's just the least crime in an area, the better that the neighborhood gets, and like the better the whole surrounding area gets. So that's why you should choose a university now over a prison. But who knows?
Plus anymore, universities are way bigger. A university like SDSU is way bigger and employs way more people than a prison does. But you can't always.
Sorry about that. Speaking of that, shoot, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, 4,000 employees employed at SDSU and only 100 on site. All 4,000 employees that are normally on site, only 100 of them were there, I guess. I don't know if they brought any more back, but talk about a lot of employees. And then they closed down all the schools, so no one's on site except for roughly 100 people.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I know you use LinkedIn a lot. Do you use any other social media platforms?
I lost you somehow. I can't hear you.
All right. If you lost me, let me see if I can send you a message. This is what happens.
Yeah, I can't hear you anymore. I don't know what happened.
All right. You may have to drop and reconnect, but let me send you a message here. Yeah.
No.
We'll try that. I think we're having a little audio problems with Dustin. If you happen to be watching this, let us know where you're watching it from. And yeah. Woo. All right. Hey, he's back.
Sorry
Hey,
about that.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. This happens in live video. It's
Yeah, it's all right.
It's the world of excitement and live video there. So my next question was, I know you use social media a lot, and especially LinkedIn. Do you use other social media platforms other than LinkedIn?
Yes, but all I do is copy and paste all the LinkedIn stuff. I only care about LinkedIn. I can't deal with Facebook. So much negativity. You are your inputs. So anytime you hear a negative thought, that's just like another negative that could have been a positive. So I don't know. It seems so lowbrow. Everything on Facebook, I don't know. I just can't. It doesn't hold my attention. I feel bad when I'm done going on there. So I quit using Facebook very quickly. Instagram, I don't know. It's just a bunch of pictures. I can't get into that either. So we post on everything, and my graphic designer does all that stuff. But I really only like LinkedIn. I have there's a connection there with me. I get it. I understand it, and that's why I'm way better on LinkedIn. I just don't even like using the other platforms.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn as well. I've tried all of them except TikTok. If you thought about TikTok, do you use TikTok?
Yeah, I'm trying to use, not really for me, but my kids are using it, so I want them to promote the stuff that's going on. They're old enough now to start working in some of the businesses, so I want them to be the social media account for that. And their TikTok and Snapchat are huge for all their friends and them. So
Right. All right. So now into the coronavirus world. For people who happen to watch this in the future, it is April 7th, 2020. So here in South Dakota and pretty much the globe, we're in the middle of the coronavirus shut down pretty much everywhere. But what opportunities do you see short term, like right now in the world of, just in the world in general right now, because things are shut down? And I don't necessarily want to talk about taking advantage of everybody's fear, and I don't think that's what you were going to bring up anyway, but what are some opportunities that are available right now for people?
The best opportunity, in my opinion, is all that government money. If you're not getting as much of that as you can, you might be being foolish, because they're basically giving it to you for 1%. If inflation starts to rise, it's going to rise way, way faster than 1%. If you use it for certain things, it's going to be just given to you. If you don't need it, put it in an account, and for 1%, cash is going to be very, very valuable here shortly. So I think any opportunities where you can grab cash are really good, but I'm not sure that there's a whole bunch of deals to be had yet, because nobody's hurting yet. There's nobody really hurting yet. All the suffering, for the most part, is psychological, meaning it's self-created. You're thinking, what's going to happen to you? Like, no one's hungry yet. There's a few.
We lost him.
Did that drop again? People keep calling me. Did it drop?
You just dropped a little bit. You
Shoot,
just mentioned hungry, and then it kind of dropped.
But yeah, so I think that the opportunities are going to be more in just, can you save some cash? Can you make it through this? Can you help other people right now? Can you be a positive influence so then people look to you as a leader more? Can you do some things like that? I don't really think there's any actual buying opportunities yet. I think there's a long way for this to fall, or else the uncertainty goes away before you really know. Because it's too soon in here. I wouldn't sell anything right now for a deal, because I don't know what the numbers are going to be. I say refinance if you can. If you can refinance and take advantage of the low rates and pull some cash out, I think there's going to be tons of inflation caused by all this money printing. So your assets are going to be worth a lot of money. So if you can have some cash, I don't know. It's a weird thing. When are the deals going to be here? And then when's inflation going to start? Because eventually the inflation is going to start. Because if you remember, after 09, 10, all of a sudden the stuff just took off.
Yeah.
The values skyrocketed. So when are you going to get into that trough? This is a lot different, though, because they acted a lot quicker than in 08. Just everything about this situation is different. There's still so much uncertainty. I don't know what a deal is, but I do know that there's government programs that you can take advantage of right now. If you can refi, the banks are super busy, so refiing is kind of hard. But if you can refi in 2 months, pull out some cash, just get ready. Basically, just get ready for preserving cash and then trying to go in when you know it's a deal. Because I feel like February 12th was peak pricing. If you look back at stock market, the amount of value the stock market lost, everything else has to sort of lose some money, even though multifamily is performing fairly well right now still. Next month, though, we'll see. Everyone's indicators are different. It looks like Midwest is again going to be the most insulated from this. As far as I'm seeing, my assets in the Midwest are better than in the other areas, but then the busier cities are just going to have more buying opportunities in the future. So I think there's going to be a ton of opportunities coming up, but that's the only opportunities I see right now, is just get money, get some cash, take advantage of these government programs. If you can refi some stuff and put some cash away, great, because these rates are super low too. So they're not actually low today, but because of all the uncertainty, but they were just low a month ago. They were like as low as they've ever been. I saw some loans under 3 for big multifamily deals. So
yeah, the rates have been pretty good. They have jumped up a little bit the last month.
I can't hear you again. Something comes wrong with the audio. Let me try one more time.
All right. We lost Mr. Dusten. He's going to come back and jump on with us.
Is it working?
Hey. I think we're back.
So I think every time someone tries to call me, it cuts off for some reason.
All right. So, hey, a little follow-up on that question. For everybody on there, tell them a little bit about the kitchen you built downtown Brookings and what you've done with the last month or so, because it was a gathering place and we don't really gather anymore. So tell that story, because I saw it on LinkedIn a while ago and it was a good story.
Well, United Way reached out to us to see if they could get set up to start using it. So we're just basically getting in mode to be able to use it for a community benefit. I mean, it's still a community gathering place. So how can we help the community with the space? Obviously, there won't be any income coming in, but we can try to do our part. It's closed down anyways, and we might as well just use it. So if we can use it to help some other organizations, that would be awesome. Otherwise, we are still like testing some equipment, and we're still going through all the punch lists. So that has actually taken a little bit longer. So it kind of just relieved a little pressure on that part of the project, knowing that we don't really have to get it ready quite as soon, but we should have our actual occupancy permit here soon. So we're going to be ready to use it as a food base if needed. But it's not bad yet here. You know, if we get hit in the next few weeks, we'll be ready. That's for sure.
Yeah. So background story, Dustin, redesigned or restructured a building in downtown Brookings to make it a large community kitchen gathering space for groups to come in, and there would be food there and then a gathering space. And now that coronavirus hit, and I think it was pretty close to when you were planning to launch.
Yeah.
When were you planning to originally open the doors on this place?
So we launched March 5th. As far as we're open now to start bringing vendors in, and then like that next weekend, the whole thing hit, and instantly all of our buzz that we had built up was gone. So all of the vendors that were talking to us quit talking to us because they're just worried about what's going on now. They're not worried about any side activities for the moment. And plus they understand that everything's shut down. So all activity ceased. But then we are still being reached out to by these organizations. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a neat repurposing of your vision and your design of what you were building. Your original vision like hit the skid marks and you were stopped, and a quick pivot into let's work with the United Way, and if we get to the point where we need meals, then this can be a place to do that.
Well, we actually didn't pivot. It became like, okay, there's no money to be had. It's not a business decision anymore. It's like you're going to be closed anyways. How can we still utilize this kitchen? Because this is what it's made for. It's made for serving meals to the community. So, and it's huge. It's perfect for a huge amount of prep. It's like the perfect thing. It's basically perfect for a food-based / community kitchen in our area anyways. So
yeah,
I didn't really have to do anything different. All I had to do is say, yeah, you can use it.
Well, it was still cool anyway. All right.
Well, thank you.
So working in the real estate industry, and maybe just take this as far as business in general, what are things right now that people can be doing? Because eventually we're going to get out of this coronavirus, and we don't know if it's months, years, weeks. We don't know how long things are going to take. What are things that you specifically are doing to prepare yourself for whenever this coronavirus thing ends and the economy starts picking up a little bit? What are things you're doing now to get ready for that?
Just keeping a super positive mindset. I'm kind of lucky that I have a big project going on. So my day-to-day is not that much different besides the fact that there's nobody outside. So when I leave the job site, it's a little bit eerie. Somehow my day-to-day is not that much difference besides all the travel is shut down. So it's kind of like just a more mundane, go to the job, go home type of job. But I'd say like you have to stay positive. You should be reading. You should be like, keeping yourself updated to when this is going to come out, because if you can see it just a little bit ahead of other people, you're going to be able to get those deals.
Yeah. Do you have a quick guideline of maybe 3 tips or a list of tips to keep people's mindset in a positive fashion and keep people on the positive end?
Well, happiness leads to success. It's not the other way around. So remember that you're like keeping yourself happy is the most important thing. That is in itself a success. So in my opinion, if you're really positive and you're grateful for everything you have in your life, you're doing way better than someone that's just financially successful is not very happy. So I say make sure that you take care of yourself first, just like the airplane mask. You can't really help anybody if you can't, you can't help anyone put a mask on if you can't breathe yourself. So I am a strong believer in taking care of yourself first. You kind of first thing in the morning, you get up a little earlier and take care of yourself. Then you can take care of so many more people. Um, so I do a lot of things in the morning just to get my mindset in a positive place. I notice that if I rush off and something's an emergency and I don't do my thing in the morning, I'm a totally different person, unless it's vacation. So I don't know. Vacation, I don't know. I say one thing too. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but you should be enjoying this time. You should not be worrying about your net worth. You should be more worried about your network, keeping your network alive, because there's really nothing you can do about your net worth right now. There's very little you can do. So you can do a lot though when this thing comes back and rebounds. So if you can take care of yourself and your family instead of worrying about your net worth so much, because I'd say when you go backwards, so humans they're happy because of progress. Just a little bit of progress every day is much better than going way up here and then coming back, way up and coming back. So if you can let yourself know already that you already lost your net worth and put yourself down there, okay, this could be bad. Let's just say my net worth is gone. No big deal. Don't worry about all these little incremental steps down that you're going to take while you're losing your net worth on this, if it turns into that. Instead, just position yourself down low as you're starting over again now. That way, when it happens, you're not so disappointed. You're not actually looking in the past. You set your bar there, and now you can work on progress going up. That's what I always say is like, when you have a setback, don't dwell on that setback. Instantly set yourself at that setback. And now all you have is you're able to go forward. I just think everything is mindset. So if you can be grateful for everything and learn a few psychological tricks, you can make yourself happy almost all the time. Obviously, you can't always be happy, but happiness is a huge thing to me. Just enjoying all the moments, small moments.
Yeah, it's a mental decision you get to make every day.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time. So finally, how does someone get in touch with you or find out more about you if they want to reach out?
DM me on LinkedIn. Just don't try to sell me anything.
What, you're not interested? I'm an expert in bank loans now, especially emergency bank loans.
Yeah. Well, then I'll get one from you after we establish a relationship. I've done tons of business with people on LinkedIn and almost no business with anyone that's just asked me to come and try out their digital web design or whatever they're trying to sell me.
I get a lot of messages about taking IT certifications, and I haven't taken any of those deals up yet, but
yeah, I just think that spamming me and telling me that you have something that hey, I would like to be, here's what I got to sell. That just doesn't work for me. Maybe it works for some people. It just doesn't work for me.
Hey, on that note, how much do you get a lot of business from LinkedIn, and how do people find it? Do you have a good story? Do you have a good story about that?
Okay, here's the best story. Let me tell you an awesome story. Well, I think it's awesome. It just tells you the power of LinkedIn. I know these people from Duluth. I just posted a story on when we went up there to help them to do consulting on their building. They got a big lofts project that's very similar to what I do. So they called me and tell me they want me to come up there and tour their buildings. And then I find out, and I already known these people for years. My dad knew the dad of the kid. So I knew the kid. I actually hired him on some projects when he lived down here. Then he moved back home. And then he was kind of inspired by what we did here. And then he moved back home and started implementing our plan, kind of where we had started off. And as soon as he told his dad about it, his dad was like, oh, that sounds cool. Went and bought this building. And now that they got the building under contract, his dad started watching all the videos on LinkedIn. And that's why he called me up there. Not because they actually knew me and we already had a previous relationship, but because they saw on LinkedIn how similar what they were doing and what they were going to do and what I had already done was. So then they called me up there, and in one day, I walked through all their properties and just was like, dude, just here's what I've done. I've already done all the layouts. I've done hundreds of different studio layouts, so I know which ones are the best. So they don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure out which ones are the best. They can just take my print and just plop it. Like, so that's kind of, I can just add a ton of value that way. But it's just funny, the power of LinkedIn that got me that job. If I wasn't posting on LinkedIn, I would not have gotten that job, even though I know those people extremely well. I could stay overnight at their house, you know, like,
yeah,
we go to the same church. So, I mean, that's the power of LinkedIn.
Right. I don't know. I
down.
love hearing these LinkedIn stories of how people get business on LinkedIn, because it's different for everybody, but it's kind of the same in the sense of people follow you on LinkedIn and know what you do. And everybody doesn't need what you offer, but somebody maybe knows somebody, and people end up watching what you do and seeing what you do. And then people get work that way. All right. You dropped out one more time.
That was it. I cut out. Is that it? You want me to reboot one more time, or are we done?
We're done, but you can't hear me, I don't think. So goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
Sorry about cutting out. I appreciate the time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Dustin. Have a great day, everybody.